2 minutes ago, a door that had remained untouched since the late Queen's final days opened again, and not for who the palace expected. Catherine stepped inside. Behind her, security quietly closed the entrance, leaving Queen Camilla standing in stunned silence. What unfolded in that single moment wasn't just a room change. It was a shift in power. And insiders say it had been planned for weeks. Before we go deeper into what this really means for the royal family, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss a single update. At dawn, before the city had fully awakened, unmarked trucks rolled through the palace gates and positioned themselves outside the late Queen's private state rooms. No press alert, no public schedule, just quiet efficiency. Staff members who had worked in those corridors for decades exchanged uneasy glances as crates were unloaded with clinical precision. The rooms had stood as a symbolic stronghold, a preserved center of authority that many believed would remain untouched out of respect. Yet sealed envelopes had been distributed only hours earlier, brief instructions marked confidential, delivered by hand, and opened under strict supervision. No one outside a small inner circle knew what they contained until it was too late to question them. Catherine's arrival was equally discreet. No photographers captured her entrance. No formal convoy announced her presence. She came through a side passage historically reserved for moments of delicate transition. That choice alone sent a message to those watching closely. This was not ceremony. This was strategy. Within minutes of her stepping inside, security posts were reassigned. Officers who had been scheduled to oversee Queen Camilla's anticipated visit were quietly redirected elsewhere. Radios crackled with coded confirmations. Access points were updated in real time. By the time Camilla approached, expecting routine entry into a space long associated with her expanding influence, the atmosphere had changed. Witnesses say the exchange was brief but unforgettable. Camilla was informed calmly, respectfully, that access would not be granted at that moment. Politely redirected, as one insider described it, though the phrasing did little to soften the sting. The door remained closed. The trucks remained stationed. And inside, Catherine began a private review that insiders claim had been scheduled long before this morning's visible shift. A senior aide, pale but resolute, was overheard whispering words that have since echoed through palace corridors. This was authorized at the highest level. That single sentence transformed a quiet relocation into something far more explosive. The Queen's staterooms were never just decorative chambers. They were the epicenter of influence. The quiet engine room where conversations shaped public direction. Whoever controlled access to those rooms controlled narrative momentum, and now, for the first time since the late Queen's passing, that control appeared to be recalibrated. Staff divisions, once subtle, began surfacing. Some aligned swiftly with the new directive, citing duty and continuity. Others hesitated, their loyalty visibly strained. The tension was not loud. It did not need to be. It was present in every exchanged glance, every measured pause in conversation. What makes this moment extraordinary is not simply that Catherine entered, it is that Camilla did not. And in monarchies, absence can speak louder than proclamation. Behind the sealed instructions, behind the silent trucks and redirected security, lies a question that refuses to stay buried. Who made the final call? Because inside these walls, nothing of this magnitude happens without a signature. And as whispers grow louder and alliances quietly shift, one truth is becoming impossible to ignore. But what truly shocked insiders wasn't the move itself, it was who signed the authorization that made it possible. For years, access to the Queen's staterooms symbolized proximity to ultimate royal authority. So when the transfer order surfaced bearing a signature few expected, whispers turned into disbelief. This wasn't a routine relocation. It was a declaration, and according to insiders, the person who approved Catherine's move knew exactly what message it would send to Camilla. The document itself was brief, almost restrained in tone, yet its weight was undeniable. Palace protocol is clear. Any reassignment involving the state rooms requires monarch-level authorization. No delegation. No informal consent. Only the sovereign's hand can alter the custodianship of spaces so deeply tied to royal continuity. And this order, insiders confirm, traced directly back to King Charles. The realization hit like a quiet detonation. What had looked like internal maneuvering was now unmistakably a top-level decision. Not accidental, not symbolic, intentional. Camilla, according to those close to the situation, was informed only minutes before her expected arrival. The timing was precise, too precise to be coincidence. A brief notification. A calm explanation. No room for appeal. In royal circles, timing is language. And this timing spoke volumes. It suggested a line had been drawn long before the public ever sensed a divide. The question echoing through palace corridors was not whether the king had the authority he unquestionably did, but why he chose to exercise it in this moment, in this way. Catherine's position within the institution had been quietly strengthening for years. Her loyalty never wavered during turbulent chapters that tested public trust. While others faced scrutiny and shifting allegiances, her approval ratings rose steadily. She became, in the eyes of many, a stabilizing force measured, disciplined, and unwaveringly aligned with the monarchy's future. That steady ascent did not go unnoticed. Supporters within the palace had grown more confident, more vocal in private conversations. At the same time, factions backing Camilla had worked diligently to consolidate influence, believing proximity to the late Queen's inner spaces reinforced legitimacy. The state rooms themselves carry more than historical prestige. They were the late Queen's decision-making center, the private arena where policy, counsel, and quiet strategy unfolded. Control over those rooms is not about decor or ceremony, it is about narrative ownership. Whoever occupies that ground inherits an invisible authority. So when King Charles affixed his name to the transfer, he was not simply approving a logistical change. He was redefining proximity to power. Those who witnessed the internal fallout described the atmosphere as electric. Conversations lowered to murmurs when certain names were mentioned. Aides measured their words carefully. Alliances became visible in subtle ways: who stood beside whom, who offered public reassurance, who remained conspicuously silent. The king's internal memo, while concise, carried a decisive tone. There was no ambiguity. The directive was framed as an adjustment in service of continuity and stability. Yet beneath that composed phrasing lay an unmistakable signal: the future would be shaped differently than some had anticipated. And still, even with the monarch's signature anchoring the order, uncertainty lingers. Because decisions of this magnitude rarely arise in isolation. They are responses. Reactions, strategic counterweights to pressures unseen by the public eye. If this was a declaration, then something must have prompted it. Something that made waiting no longer an option. Yet the signature alone doesn't explain why this move happened now, because beneath the surface, a deeper struggle had been unfolding for months. Long before Catherine crossed that threshold, something had shifted inside palace walls. Meetings ended abruptly, invitations subtly excluded. Seating arrangements changed without explanation. What appeared cordial on the surface masked a growing divide, one that insiders say reached a breaking point just days ago. And the Queen's state rooms became the battleground no one saw coming. At first, the changes were easy to dismiss. Catherine and Camilla began appearing separately at engagements that once would have showcased unity. Official statements framed it as scheduling logistics, a practical division of duties in a modern monarchy. But those who monitor royal rhythms sensed something else: an invisible recalibration. Shared platforms became individual spotlights. Joint appearances quietly dissolved into parallel paths. The symbolism was subtle, yet powerful. In an institution built on collective strength, separation carries meaning. Behind closed doors, advisory teams were no longer aligned. Catherine's circle increasingly leaned toward long-term policy influence, emphasizing early childhood development, social stability, and structural reform. Camilla's advisors, by contrast, reportedly pushed for expanded ceremonial authority and greater input over high-profile events that shape public narrative. Neither approach was inherently wrong, but together they created friction. Two visions, two interpretations of legacy, and within the palace, even philosophical differences can harden into territorial disputes. Insiders claim Camilla had recently sought a more assertive role in ceremonial planning, particularly in spaces historically associated with the late Queen's direct oversight. That ambition did not go unnoticed. Catherine, meanwhile, was quietly broadening her portfolio, holding strategy-focused discussions that signaled preparation for a more central role in shaping the monarchy's future direction. She did not challenge publicly. She did not retaliate. She remained composed, measured, unshaken in front of cameras. But composure does not mean absence of pressure. The emotional toll, according to those close to her, was significant. To carry expectation while absorbing tension requires discipline few truly understand. Staff loyalties began to fracture in silence. No open declarations. No dramatic confrontations. Just careful alignments who shared briefings, who received early drafts of speeches, who was consulted first when sensitive issues arose. Small details became indicators of larger currents. The palace, once synchronized in tone, felt divided into quiet camps. Even routine decisions carried undertones of competition. And in an environment where symbolism is currency, every gesture mattered. Then came the closed-door discussion that insiders describe as tense and unusually direct. Senior royals reportedly addressed concerns about cohesion, legacy, and public perception. The conversation, though private, reverberated afterward. There were no official leaks, no dramatic statements, yet something in the aftermath shifted. Invitations recalibrated, access tightened, the atmosphere thickened. Those present understood that unresolved tension could no longer be ignored. Subtle gestures began hinting at change. Seating placements at events positioned Catherine closer to strategic figures. Public acknowledgements emphasized continuity through her initiatives. Meanwhile, Camilla's ceremonial visibility remained steady but increasingly separate. To casual observers, nothing appeared overtly wrong, but beneath the surface, the monarchy was recalculating balance. And when recalculation reaches a critical point, action follows. By the time Catherine entered the state rooms, the decision was not spontaneous. It was the culmination of weeks, perhaps months of emotional strain, strategic maneuvering, and internal reassessment. The rooms did not become the battleground by accident. They became the inevitable focal point of a conflict too complex to remain hidden. Because in royal institutions, space equals influence, and influence defines the future. But if tension was rising, the final trigger came from an unexpected source, one that made waiting impossible. 3 nights ago, something happened that insiders describe as the final straw. Details remain tightly guarded, but multiple palace sources confirm that a private disagreement escalated into a decisive moment. Within 48 hours, Catherine's relocation was set in motion. Whatever was said in that room didn't just alter relationships, it accelerated a shift that can't be undone. The disagreement reportedly centered on representation at a major upcoming state event, an occasion poised to project unity and strength to the world. According to those familiar with the exchange, discussions that began as logistical quickly turned pointed. Questions of precedence surfaced. Who would lead? Who would stand where? Who would speak first? In monarchies, such matters are never superficial. They signal hierarchy, influence, and future direction. And this time, the stakes were unmistakably high. Sources allege that Camilla attempted to assert expanded authority over Catherine's role in the event's structure, framing it as necessary coordination. Yet insiders suggest the proposal carried implications that went beyond coordination; it implied limitation. Catherine, by all accounts, did not accept it. Calm but firm, she reportedly refused to step aside or reduce her presence in a manner that would redefine her position within the institution. It was not defiance for spectacle. It was resistance grounded in conviction. A line had been reached. As tensions sharpened, the king was drawn into mediation discussions. Advisors briefed him separately, each presenting interpretations colored by loyalty and long-term vision. What might once have been smoothed over through compromise now demanded clarity. Senior figures within the palace reportedly recommended what they termed clarity of hierarchy. The phrase, repeated in quiet consultations, became a guiding principle. Clarity means certainty. Certainty requires decision, and decision in this context meant choosing not merely between individuals but between trajectories. By the following morning, a confidential briefing had been prepared overnight. It outlined risks of continued ambiguity, public confusion, internal instability, narrative erosion. The language was precise, stripped of emotion, yet the implications were explosive. Delay, advisors warned, would only deepen fracture lines. Action, though disruptive, would restore structure. The king listened. And within hours, urgency replaced hesitation. Drafting the relocation directive became a priority. Legal frameworks were reviewed, protocols were confirmed, timing was calculated down to the minute. Those involved described the atmosphere as controlled, but intense, no raised voices, just accelerated resolve. It was not chaos, it was recalibration under pressure. What had simmered privately was now crystallizing into official movement. And when the authorization was finalized, the effect was immediate. Palace insiders have since described the outcome as a power reset, not a collapse, not a rebellion, a reset. Authority clarified, boundaries reinforced, influence repositioned. Catherine's relocation to the state rooms was not framed internally as victory or defeat, but as necessary stabilization. Yet symbolism cannot be neutralized so easily. Everyone understood what it signaled. Everyone felt the shift. In royal systems, decisive acts rarely follow a single argument. They follow accumulated strain reaching its breaking point. That night, whatever words were exchanged behind closed doors triggered more than an emotional rupture; they compelled structural change. And once the machinery of the monarchy begins to move, it does not pause for second thoughts. And once the decision was made, the execution was swift, almost surgical. At precisely 6:40 a.m., before official duties began, palace corridors buzzed with silent coordination. Boxes were labeled discreetly, personal effects transferred under watchful eyes. Catherine arrived through a private entrance. By the time Camilla's staff realized what was happening, the transition was nearly complete. This wasn't improvisation. It was precision. Hours earlier, a select group of staff had been summoned and sworn to absolute confidentiality. No phones, no written notes beyond secured documents. The instruction was clear: efficiency without spectacle. Loyalty would be measured not by words, but by silence. Those chosen understood the gravity of their role. This was not an ordinary relocation of furniture or files. It was a recalibration of influence unfolding in real time. Catherine did not delegate the entire process. Insiders say she personally oversaw critical elements of the transition, reviewing placements and ensuring continuity rather than disruption. Her involvement was deliberate. Every adjustment carried symbolic weight. Security protocols were temporarily modified, access points tightened just long enough to prevent interference. Movement through certain corridors required updated clearance. The window for action was narrow, and the margin for error even narrower. Midway through the operation, a ripple of tension surfaced. A senior aide aligned with Camilla reportedly attempted to question the authority behind the changes, seeking clarification before the relocation could be finalized. The inquiry did not escalate into confrontation, but it was pointed. Within minutes, a calm yet unmistakably firm instruction arrived from the king's private secretary: proceed as authorized. The message ended speculation. There would be no pause, no reconsideration. The directive stood. Through it all, Catherine remained composed. Observers describe her demeanor as steady, almost resolute, despite the undeniable pressure surrounding the moment. She understood the scrutiny. She understood the implications. Yet she did not display triumph or defensiveness. Instead, she focused on continuity, ensuring that what had once symbolized the late Queen's authority would now reflect forward movement rather than internal fracture. Strength in this context meant restraint. One detail, however, resonated more loudly than any spoken declaration: the placement of the late Queen's writing desk. That desk had long represented discretion, deliberation, and sovereign judgment. Its positioning within the room was not random, it was intentional. By situating it prominently yet respectfully within her new working space, Catherine signaled alignment with legacy rather than replacement. It was a subtle act, but within palace culture, subtlety is language. As the final items were settled and security returned to standard configuration, the hierarchy within the household had quietly shifted. No public statement announced it. No ceremonial acknowledgement accompanied it. Yet every aide, every advisor, every observer understood that the center of gravity had moved. Influence had been redistributed with calculated care. By the time Camilla's team fully grasped the scope of what had occurred, the structure was already in place. Reversal would require confrontation at the highest level, something no one seemed prepared to ignite in that moment. The operation's success lay in its speed, its coordination, its refusal to invite chaos. But while Catherine settled in, the emotional fallout was just beginning. Those closest to Camilla say they had never seen her so blindsided. Access denied, rooms reassigned, influence curtailed. For someone accustomed to gradual ascent within the institution, this abrupt reversal carried weight far beyond furniture and walls, and insiders suggest that her private reaction revealed just how deeply this decision cut. Within hours of learning the transition was irreversible, Camilla reportedly demanded clarification from senior aides. Not outrage, not spectacle, but sharp, controlled questions delivered with unmistakable urgency. Who initiated the final sequence? Why was notice so brief? Was there room for review? The answers she received were measured and procedural, emphasizing authorization, protocol, and strategic alignment. Yet procedure can feel painfully impersonal when it collides with expectation. Behind closed doors, tension reportedly thickened, turning routine briefings into emotionally charged exchanges. Those present describe an atmosphere in her private quarters that felt heavy with disbelief. Camilla had navigated decades of scrutiny, public skepticism, and relentless media pressure to secure her place within the monarchy. She had endured resistance and slowly rebuilt trust through steady presence. That history mattered to her. It formed the foundation of her resilience. So this sudden recalibration, this symbolic exclusion from a space long tied to influence, landed not merely as logistical change, but as personal diminishment. Supporters close to her urged restraint. Push back diplomatically, one confidant reportedly advised, emphasizing long-term positioning over immediate reaction. The argument was simple: public confrontation would fracture the institution and damage everyone involved. Strategy required patience, yet patience is harder to summon when the ground shifts beneath you. Insiders whisper of a phone call placed that evening, an attempt to open direct dialogue at the highest level. It allegedly went unanswered. Whether due to scheduling, deliberation, or intentional silence remains unclear, but unanswered calls carry their own message. As word of the relocation began circulating quietly through royal circles, concerns about public perception intensified. If the story leaked prematurely, it could fuel narratives of rivalry and instability. Camilla's team reportedly debated whether to preempt speculation with a controlled appearance, projecting unity and composure. Every option carried risk. Silence could imply weakness. Visibility could invite scrutiny. The psychological strain was undeniable. In monarchies, symbolism cuts deeper than policy. To be redirected from the state rooms was to be reminded that proximity to power is never permanent. And yet, history shows that Camilla has weathered storms before. She transformed years of public resistance into eventual acceptance through endurance and strategic adaptation. That resilience did not vanish overnight. Even in the wake of this setback, quiet discussions began unfolding about recalibration rather than retaliation. Advisors analyzed ceremonial roles, philanthropic focus, and alternative avenues of influence. If one door had closed, others might be reinforced. The question was not whether she would respond, but how. What makes this moment volatile is not merely the shift itself, but the emotional undercurrent beneath it. For Camilla, the move represented an abrupt reminder that hierarchy can evolve without warning. For Catherine, it signaled trust placed decisively in her direction. Two trajectories diverging under the same crown. And in that divergence lies both vulnerability and transformation. Meanwhile, Catherine's move wasn't just symbolic, it marked a new chapter in royal authority. For years, Catherine prepared without spectacle, steady, disciplined, loyal. But stepping into the Queen's state rooms signals something more than readiness, it signals transition. Observers now say this wasn't just about space, it was about succession optics, and the monarchy may have just revealed who it sees as its undeniable future centre. Catherine's evolution within the institution did not happen overnight. While headlines often focused on appearances and public engagements, insiders describe a quieter transformation unfolding behind palace doors. She immersed herself in constitutional briefings, studied diplomatic protocol, and developed a measured understanding of how influence operates within a centuries-old system. Her leadership visibility increased gradually, not through dramatic declarations, but through consistent presence in policy, focused initiatives. It was preparation without fanfare, growth without spectacle. Public sentiment followed. Approval ratings climbed steadily, reflecting trust built through composure during turbulent times. In moments when the monarchy faced scrutiny, Catherine's steadiness became symbolic reassurance. That trust now carries strategic weight. When institutions look toward continuity, they gravitate toward figures who embody stability. By positioning her within the late Queen's workspace, the monarchy did more than reassign rooms, it amplified a narrative of future leadership. The message was subtle, yet unmistakable. Strategically, this placement aligns with long-term succession optics. Queenship is not merely inherited, it is rehearsed through responsibility. Occupying the state rooms embeds Catherine within the symbolic architecture of authority. It suggests mentorship has matured into stewardship. And perhaps most telling is the king's apparent confidence in her discretion. Allowing such a move requires faith not only in loyalty but in judgment. Discretion is currency within royal circles. Catherine has demonstrated it repeatedly. The symbolism resonates beyond palace walls. Commonwealth representatives, diplomats, and global observers read these shifts carefully. Access to the state rooms historically signified direct involvement in shaping the monarchy's broader vision. By situating Catherine there, the institution signals forward-facing continuity. It reassures allies that preparation for the next chapter is not hypothetical, it is active. And that reassurance matters in a world where perception shapes influence. Yet beneath strategic calculus lies emotional weight. The late Queen's workspace carries legacy etched into its very function. To assume that space is to inherit responsibility layered with history. It demands humility and resolve in equal measure. Catherine appears acutely aware of that burden. Insiders describe her approach as balanced, assertive enough to lead, restrained enough to honor tradition. She does not project triumph, she projects continuity. That distinction defines her strength. Still, triumph in royal structures is rarely uncomplicated. Every ascent recalibrates equilibrium. As Catherine's authority becomes more visible, others must adjust. Influence is finite. Attention shifts. The psychological terrain within the palace inevitably transforms. Even those who support the transition recognize its ripple effects. Momentum forward can create tension sideways. And so, while Catherine's move embodies vision and preparation fulfilled, it simultaneously redraws lines within the institution. Power clarified in one direction can unsettle another. The monarchy thrives on unity, yet unity requires adaptation. With Catherine now occupying a space once synonymous with sovereign command, the message of future certainty grows louder. Yet every rise reshapes the balance, and the palace isn't immune to aftershocks. When walls shift, alliances do too. Behind polished smiles and public ceremonies, a recalibration is underway. Advisors are choosing sides carefully. Public statements remain silent for now, but insiders warn that this move may define the monarchy's internal structure for years. And the question echoing through palace corridors is simple. Is this the beginning of a new era, or the start of open fracture? Inside the institution, loyalty has become quieter but more deliberate. Staff members once united under shared routine now measure their proximity with caution. Some align instinctively with Catherine's expanding authority, drawn to the clarity of forward momentum. Others remain steadfastly supportive of Camilla, valuing continuity of her ceremonial presence and hard-won position. No formal declarations are made, yet patterns reveal themselves in scheduling preferences, briefing access, and the tone of private consultations. The palace has not divided loudly, it has divided thoughtfully. Whispers of potential reshuffling have begun circulating. Ceremonial responsibilities once predictably assigned may soon reflect the new hierarchy. Invitations, seating orders, representation at international engagements, these are not mere formalities. They are strategic indicators. Should Catherine's presence become increasingly central, the institutional narrative will shift with her. And every shift carries consequences for those accustomed to different arrangements. Amid this quiet recalibration lies a shared anxiety, media discovery. The monarchy thrives on controlled narrative. Should the story surface prematurely, speculation could spiral beyond containment. Advisors on both sides reportedly agree on one point: public unity must be preserved at all costs. Strategic silence has become the chosen shield. Official spokespeople offer no confirmation, no denial, only carefully neutral language that neither acknowledges tension nor invites further inquiry. Silence in this context is strategy. At the center of it all stands the king, navigating a delicate balancing act. His decision to authorize Catherine's move established direction, yet leadership now demands equilibrium. He must reinforce confidence in the institution without alienating key figures within it. Observers note the precision of his public engagements: equal warmth, measured visibility, calibrated proximity. Every appearance becomes choreography. Stability must be projected, even as internal adjustments continue behind closed doors. Speculation about long-term implications grows steadily. Will this transition accelerate Catherine's central role in shaping policy and ceremonial identity? Will Camilla redefine her influence through alternative channels? Palace historians quietly compare the moment to past succession tensions, when symbolic decisions foreshadowed structural transformation. History rarely repeats itself identically, but it often rhymes. And in monarchies, subtle recalibrations can lay groundwork for decades of change. What heightens suspense is the anticipation surrounding Camilla's next move. She has demonstrated resilience before. Strategic patience has been her hallmark. Those close to her suggest she will not react impulsively. Yet patience does not eliminate ambition. The coming weeks may reveal whether recalibration leads to renewed balance or deeper divergence. For now, the palace remains composed on the surface. Ceremonies proceed. Speeches are delivered. Applause echoes as it always has. But beneath that polished exterior, influence is being renegotiated. The staterooms have become more than workspace, they are a signal flare in the monarchy's evolving narrative. Because if history has taught the monarchy anything, it's that symbolic shifts rarely stay symbolic for long. 2 minutes ago, Catherine walked into history. But tonight, the palace waits. Will Camilla accept the shift quietly, or recalibrate her strategy? Will the king double down, or soften the blow? One door has closed, another has opened, and the monarchy stands at a threshold it cannot step back from. Inside those ancient walls, anticipation hums beneath practiced composure. Advisors are already shaping potential explanations, drafting language that frames transition as continuity rather than conflict. If a public statement emerges, it will likely speak of modernization, efficiency, shared purpose. Carefully chosen words. Measured tone. A controlled narrative designed to steady the waters before speculation turns tidal. Yet even the most polished explanation cannot erase what insiders know. Hierarchy has been clarified, and clarity changes everything. All eyes now turn to the upcoming state event, a global stage, where symbolism speaks louder than speeches. Who stands closest to the king? Who greets foreign dignitaries first? Who occupies the visual center of power? These details, seemingly minor, will confirm what palace corridors already whisper. If Catherine steps forward with quiet authority, the message will resonate far beyond the room. If adjustments appear subtle, they will still be studied frame by frame. The monarchy understands this, so does Camilla. Because acceptance does not mean retreat, Camilla may yet reposition through alternative avenues: philanthropy, ceremonial focus, strategic alliances within the household. Influence is not confined to one room. It adapts. It finds new channels. Her resilience has been tested before, and history shows she does not yield easily. The coming weeks may reveal whether recalibration becomes resurgence. Catherine, meanwhile, must navigate her next public appearance with surgical care. Too triumphant, and she risks widening internal strain. Too restrained, and she risks diluting the signal sent by her relocation. The balance will define perception. And perception, in royal life, is power's closest ally. The king's role remains pivotal. He must steady both sides, affirming confidence in Catherine while preserving institutional unity. His words, his posture, even his silences will shape how this chapter is remembered. The Queen's staterooms endure as silent witnesses to generational transition. They have housed counsel, doubt, resolve. Now they hold a new occupant, and with her, a new trajectory. The emotional stakes are profound, not only for those directly involved, but for a family bound by duty and expectation. What unfolded was more than administrative change. It was a defining moment. And as the doors of the Queen's staterooms remain firmly shut behind Catherine, the world waits to see who will be allowed to knock next. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we will see you in the next one.